Welcome back, everybody. We have a special episode for you guys today. It's a little different scenery, as you guys can see. Están viendo, es algo diferente. Estamos en nuestro estudio de grabación, ahorita donde grabamos nuestras baterías para alabanzas que hacemos, covers, y especialmente ahorita que lo estamos incluyendo para los podcasts que estamos haciendo con ustedes. So, welcome, everybody. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode because this episode is super special to us. And I know you guys will learn a lot of things from this, okay? So let's start it off with the intro. Okay, so everybody, welcome back once again. Jonathan,
Yes.
explícalos en dónde estamos para ti.
Aquí estamos en mi cuarto de batería. This is literally my go-to place whenever I have to obviously practice, if I want to get things out of my mind, things like this. This is where my environment is. This is my home, second home out of my own home, if that makes sense, you know?
It does a little bit. Honestly, if you're a musician, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Vas a entender completamente lo que estamos diciendo que es tu segundo hogar de tu hogar. So, para los que no sabían, Jonathan, fun fact, right?
Yes.
Are you
Want
ready?
me to give him what are you going to say?
You ready?
A ver.
So, para los que no sabían, Jonathan tiene 4 drum sets.
I do. Can you imagine that?
And
I-
one of them is an electric drum set that he has in his room.
Everyone is one of those type of people. When you're a musician, you literally just collect a bunch of stuff. I think I even have bits and pieces in the little garage that we have outside. There's some snare parts.
Oh, that's
or
right. I
drum
think he
parts.
does. I think you do. I think you truly, I didn't think of that until now that you brought it up.
But yeah, I have 4 drums. This is my main drums right here. This is my baby. This is the gift I received from my parents way back in the day, and I still call her my baby. This is my first love right here. But other than that, I have 2 other acoustic drum sets as well. Just like my brother mentioned, I do have an electric drum set, but that's in my room. That's in case if I can't make too much noise, I just do some gentle stuff in my own room and just plug in my headphones and just do a couple of practice sessions there too. But
So Jonathan says it's gentle playing.
it is.
Pero when you walk into the house, you could just hear somebody hitting something like do, do,
It kind of sounds like it's just like plastic hitting, but it's obviously it's not gonna be like this. So I call it gentle hitting.
gentle hitting. Okay, so como dije, es muy especial este episodio. Gracias por acompañarnos. Antes de empezar, Jonathan, explícalos un poquito cuánto tiempo llevas tocando la batería, a qué años empezaste y tu proceso up until now.
Sí, yo empecé tocando la batería desde que tenía 9 años. De allí fue que inició básicamente mi carrera en lo que es la música. And I've been playing the drums ever since. So, basically, he pasado por muchas cosas, como muchos músicos pasan sobre muchas trayectorias, muchas victorias, muchas derrotas. Lo he pasado yo también, pero gracias a Dios, por la gracia de Dios, estoy todavía haciendo lo que estoy haciendo y obviously improving every single day or trying to at least, but it's always hard when you have to learn something new and different every other day when it comes to music, so.
And it's true, es cierto. Todos pasamos como músicos, pasamos momentos que al instante you get a song or te toma, es un proceso de unos días, a veces que de semanas que te toma para que te aprendas una alabanza, pero as long as you are consistent in learning it and telling yourself, I need to learn it before I move on to something else,
For sure.
you'll get it.
And that's how it has to be. Así tiene que ser. Even when you're not doing music stuff, you always have to focus on one specific thing. And then until you really master it, you can move on to something different. Cuando ya de verasmente ya sabes lo que estás haciendo, pues ya te puedes brincar a otra cosa que tienes que enfocarte en lo que es la música o en el professionally, en tu carrera, whatever it is. Pero
So those are some fun facts for you guys. If you guys want to write them down, you definitely can. Or if you're just listening and watching this, make sure that you soak up as much knowledge as you can, okay? If you have any questions of anything, make sure you comment in our channel. Make sure we'll get to your messages as soon as we can. We try to be diligent about answering everybody's questions. I know there will probably be some times where we probably won't get to your question, but don't feel bad. We'll try to answer everything as much as we can, okay? So let's start off the episode.
Okay.
So this one is a topic that I decided to bring alongside with you because siento que muchos bateristas en la música cristiana, especialmente en la iglesia hispana, tiene que entender y aprender, you know? So we're talking about drum dynamics. Drum dynamics, it's something we all need to learn, not just as drummers, sino que dynamics in general when it comes to piano, guitars, bass, drums as a band. So this is just a little bit of an insight of actual drum dynamics, okay? So first question for you, Jonathan.
Okay.
What are dynamics in drumming, especially in the CCM setting?
Well, first of all, talk about what CCM is.
So CCM, para los que no sabían, is contemporary Christian music.
Okay. So to answer that question, what dynamics are in drumming is basically how loud or soft you are playing your snare, your kick, your toms, cymbals también, even though it's hard to do it, dynamics with cymbals, but sometimes people go overboard when it comes to hitting cymbals and they go just loud and they start breaking things, and learning those dynamics is going to help a lot. En español, dynamics, las dinámicas es básicamente qué tan recio o suave vas a estar pegando lo que es el redobante, el bombo, los toms, o los platillos, lo que sea. Así, that's what dynamics are.
Me imagino que hay gente preguntándose, why is he talking about this? Why are we watching a podcast like this? Porque hay veces que as a beginning drummer, you don't know exactly cómo medirte tu volumen, y llega un momento, porque lo hemos experimentado, que llega un momento, hemos visto con nuestros propios ojos que cuando está tocando un grupo y no conocen lo que es las dinámicas, el drummer se escucha recio.
O se escucha just all over the place.
Se escucha all over the place. Hay veces que tienen micrófonos y no saben medirse. Cuando el micrófono lo único que va a hacer es enhance your sound para que se escuche en el cuarto, in the room that you're at, right?
For sure. Yeah, literally.
So, hay veces que muchas personas se les olvida que la batería tiene micrófonos y les dan tan recio que terminan haciéndole mute a todos los canales de los drums. Cuando en realidad los microphones, cuando están ahí, tienes que controlar y es más como feeling.
Yeah.
¿Verdad? ¿O estoy mal?
No, that's correct. That's how it has to be.
Y hemos visto cuando hay personas que tocan, even though there's mics on the drums, it's like, I'm like, oh, my ear sounds like va a reventar. Y a veces que siento que el kick is so loud, que lo siento que it's just hitting my chest really bad.
Yeah,
Not in a good way. There's instance cuando te dicen que you want to feel the low end.
For sure.
But there's a difference between feeling it to having it push you over, you know? Okay, so question number 2. How can you break up dynamics and percentages for everybody that's watching?
So the way that you could break down the dynamics within a song, I've learned this from many other people también that I look up to when it comes to drumming, is you could break them basically in 4 different percentages. You break them in the 25% range, the 50% range, 75%, and then you go to the last, which is 90%. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, why don't you just go to the 100? Because in reality, you really don't want to be at the 100 when it comes to the CCM music. You want to be around the 90, because 90 is still going to be super loud. It's still going to be really heavy on the drums. It's just going to bring everything out. But hundreds, you just really won't be there.
So you're saying that the 100 is just in case of something that you want to hit 100.
In case, let's say you're in the live section, right? And obviously your singers or the band is just going to push for more, then that's when you go up to the 100 percentage. In the way that I opinion and comment on that. Pero básicamente en el español, la forma que we break down las dinámicas es en 4 porcentajes y es de 25 porcentaje, 50, 75 y después 90. Y mucha gente va a decir por qué no lo hacemos hasta 100. Porque en normalidad, en lo que es la música cristiana o contemporánea, casi nunca queremos llegar hasta el 100. En la forma que yo veo esto, no queremos llegar hasta el 100 o sobrepasar los demás en lo que es la música. 90% siempre va a estar fuerte, siempre va a llevar muchos adornos, va a llevar... you're just going to be able to feel it, you know? So that's how I break it down.
Va a estar rellenado siempre
Sí.
al 90%. Nunca... El 100 es solo por emergencias, me estás diciendo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Por lo que estoy entendiendo, es just in case of an emergency. Maybe you ran through your bridges. Maybe you ran through your chorus a couple times. Corriste los puentes y el coro ya lo cantaste como 10 veces, por ejemplo, nomás 10 veces. Y el número 11 la quieres cantar una vez más el coro, pero esta vez quieres que esté al 100.
Ya para finalizar.
Para
todo.
finalizar, pues ahí ya le das a todo todo dar.
For
¿Es
sure.
cierto, verdad?
Sí.
Ok. So, con estos porcentajes vamos a enseñar exactamente cómo sería el 25, dijiste el 50. 75 y el 90% y hasta el 100%, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Vamos a usar, por ejemplo, la alabanza de Waymaker. Todos, yo creo que conocemos la alabanza de Waymaker. Hay personas que la tocan diferente, pero vamos a enseñarles la manera que nosotros la interpretamos para que ustedes puedan entender y puedan sentir lo que son los porcentajes diferentes. ¿Ok? So, le damos con el 25%.
Ok.
Drums in. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
Ok. So, para todos los que estaban viendo, that is 25%. So, there are going to be people, va a haber gente que va a decir, 25%? That doesn't sound big. That doesn't sound loud. Why are you doing 25%?
25% is because we don't want to start getting into the song. Basically, when you start seeing a song, you want to see it as a story, kind of. You want to build the story and tell the story. Obviously, if we all read books, the introduction is always going to be just the introduction of what's going to happen or just to start easing you into the book that you're reading. And it's the same thing when it comes to the drums. You want to just start introducing to it. You don't want to just go boom and then go hard, you know? You just want to let it flow first. That's what the main goal is when it comes to 25%.
Okay, so that's super interesting porque other people will interpret, cuando escuchan el click y escuchan el guy diciendo drums in, they'll just go full out. The difference between when you do that es que tienes que, como dijiste, the storytelling, which is a good example to use. You will have to build to the climax because then it's going to drop, right? But you don't want to hit the climax right away because
you're never going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Porque si llegas a empiezas a ese punto del 100, básicamente no estás diciendo la historia que tú quieres decir entre la canción. Básicamente, si me explico. Porque si llegas al 100, nunca vas a llegar a un tope. It's just going to sound todo así. When it comes to dynamics, you want ranges, different ranges. You want to show the different motions of the song. You want to have that emotion and build up that type of anxiousness of, oh man, what's going to happen next, you know? That's what dynamics play huge key roles in.
And it's so true. Sorry to interrupt you. But it's so true. Porque hemos escuchado gente que they build, right? And then I don't know where they do the drop. Pero when they build to the drop, pero when they hit that chorus after the drop, it's just huge. And you can feel the emotion. So that's what we're trying to tell you guys. That no siempre tienes que darle al 100. Sino que un poquito de cymbals, de platillos aquí y allá hace bastante porque quieres también, míralo así. Hemos dado el ejemplo que queremos que la gente se meta a adorar, ¿verdad? Pero también tiene que ver mucho cómo tú tocas la alabanza. Si tú estás tocando la alabanza a todo dar al 100%, La gente pues no va a tener esa emoción, no va a tener esa emoción de meterse a adorar, sino que también la forma que tú estás interpretando esa canción o esa alabanza es como vas a ayudar que la gente llegue a entrar a la presencia de Dios.
Ujú.
Aunque mucha gente te va a decir, no tiene nada que ver con eso, porque el Espíritu Santo es el que hace todo el trabajo. Y no estoy diciendo que no. Estoy diciendo, el Espíritu Santo hace todo el trabajo, pero también tiene que ver mucho cómo la alabanza está interpretada.
Ujú. Y en lo que es el 25 porcentaje, el percentage, explicando qué es lo que estoy haciendo, básicamente yo nomás estoy manteniendo el tiempo para los demás, rellenando the beginning and the emptiness that may have in there. So it's just nomás es para rellenar un poco, el 25 porcentaje. Pero cuando se habla de tocar platillos, no me malinterpreten de no estar... No, es básicamente nomás el tiempo y un small little build-up lo que hice ahí en el video.
Ok. Entonces vamos a darle de nuevo, vamos a hacer el mismo ejemplo, el mismo loop, para enseñarles los diferentes porcentajes. So, le damos al 50%.
Ok.
Drums in. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
Okay, so that is 50%.
Yep.
50%. Lo que noté que ahora sí ya le metiste lo que es toms y el kick más seguido en cada beat. ¿Por
Sí.
qué?
En el 50%, this is where you want to start building it up a little bit. Quieres ya empezar a crecer la alabanza un poco. No todavía hasta el tope, sino que vas caminando ya empezando a subir las escaleras de lo que es la música. So this is where you start building up and including things like the toms, your kick, things like that.
Okay, very interesting. Because at 50%, somebody else will interpret it differently.
Mhm.
50% dicen, I'm halfway to 100%. Estoy a la mitad, 100%. So, lo que voy a hacer es meterle un poquito de snare. Noté que no le has metido snare todavía.
No, todavía no, porque I don't want to introduce that yet until either my 75% or my 90%. Because your snare is just going to overtake everything else. Because if I would have done my toms and then added that snare, then it would have just sounded like super loud already. But since I haven't, it's barely building up. So
It's building up.
Mhm.
Okay, so con este ejemplo de ya hicimos el 25%, ya hicimos el 50%. A ver, enséñalos el 75% de cómo se miraría ya cuando estás a ese nivel.
Okay.
Okay.
Drums in. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
Okay, 75%. Explain to us a little bit of why you played 75%.
So 75%, this is where I started building up the song because I want to start incorporating. This is where I started incorporating my snare. So when I go into the chorus, then it's not going to be just random, you know? So this is where I start introducing. But the 75% is just basically a buildup that I'm doing to go into the next portion of my percentage. Because I don't want to just go from 50 toms to my solid beat. Instead, I want to do my toms, build it up, and then go into my beat. Does that make sense? So el 75% es básicamente nomás mi build-up que estoy haciendo para ya introducir lo que es mi ritmo en lo que es en esta alabanza.
Okay, so alguien tal vez te diría 75%, I probably would have done more kick, more times, and more snare. Why did you decide to do the build-up?
Well, I did use a little bit of kick on there. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but I did do a little bit of kick, basically just maintaining my tempo. That's all I did. But I wanted to just introduce, just have my ride and my snare be the loudest a little bit because Within the build-up, it's just going to be those main key components. I could have done it without the kick as well, but basically, if I'm doing the double time of my hits, then I want to make sure I have a solid foundation of the tempo. That way, others también in the band could make sure they're maintaining that right tempo at the same time. Because it's going to be difficult for people just to follow the double hits. Because if you notice, I'm doubling it from the click. Because I'm not just doing single thing.
So you're saying to keep the tempo just in case the rest of the band members don't have the click in their ears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Pero al mismo tiempo le está dando esa foundation of
But it
build
fills it up. It fills it up. Because if I would have just done it just the right in the snare, it would have still felt empty. So having the kick just to at least maintain my tempo was filling it up, and it sounded full. Well, if you notice it just sounded full already, getting to that point of, okay, I'm going to start hitting my climax. So that's why I kind of kept it that way.
Okay, interesting. Super interesting. Because, okay, again, I'm not a drummer. Yo no soy baterista. I could sit in that chair and try to play the drums, pero nomás tocaría.
That's the ritmo I started with way back in the beginning.
That's about it, though. I mean, no soy un baterista que digamos que, oh my goodness, look at
and
them chops.
I wouldn't say I'm like that either. I wouldn't say I'm the best drummer there is in the world, but that's how I just kind of see things and just start incorporating it my way when it comes to building up a worship song, especially with the percentages. You'll be basically using them more in the worship songs rather than your upbeat songs. Yes, you could still have certain percentages with your upbeats, but you'll see it mostly start playing into the field of worship specifically.
Super interesting. ¿Qué te iba a decir? So, again, 75% snare, cymbal, and kick. Just to give it that different feel. So, para todos los que están viendo, ustedes que están, primeramente, ojalá que estén aprendiendo algo, porque yo sé que yo personalmente sí estoy aprendiendo algo y no soy baterista. Pero queremos que entiendan también que estamos usando los porcentajes, the percentages, accordingly to what we think is right, accordingly also to the song.
Yes, that's important. Tienes que entender y saber cómo distinguir qué porcentaje vas a usar para otra canción. Estos porcentajes funcionan para esta canción, pero ya si tú me hubieras dado otra canción, pues ya I would include it in a different way. Lo usaría en una diferente manera dependiendo cómo se está cantando la canción o qué es la historia que quiere decir la canción, you know, what the story they want to tell. That's how I would use it in a different way.
Interesting. So ya hicimos 25%, ahora ya hicimos 50%, ya hicimos 75%.
Now we go into the 90%, which is going to be the most fun to play with. Everyone is going to enjoy it. El 90% va a ser ya introduciendo el ritmo en lo que es la canción ya.
Okay, entonces show us what 90% looks like for Waymaker.
Okay.
Drums in. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
Okay, that's 90%.
Yes.
90%, which to a lot would be 100%.
Yeah, a lot of them would interpret that, oh, that's his 100%. But no, that's what I consider just a 90%.
Because you're honestly, el 90% le estás nomás, you're just keeping the beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you notice, I did throw a couple of cymbal hits and just a little bit of a adorno just towards the end. But at my 90%, I'm not just going to go adorno after adorno, cymbal after cymbal, because that just ruins the song.
Which, honestly, to an extent, hay mucha gente, y otra vez, es más, este podcast está más dirigido, este video está más dirigido a la comunidad hispana, para todas las iglesias hispanas, porque hay muchos bateristas, músicos que piensan que meterle tanto adorno va a ayudar.
Yo tal vez no diría todos los hispanos, porque también hay otros diferentes músicos que no los interpretan así también. If you know what I'm saying.
Sí. Again, I may be wrong. Pero yo no sé, nomás por mis experiencias que yo he visto he estado presente en lugares así que he visto que mucha gente, muchos bateristas especialmente, piensa que si no le meten todos los chops, no suena bien el song.
Ujú. Y es algo que todos tienen que entender. Es bueno que tú sepas lo que es los chops, es bueno hacer buenos adornos, pero también tienes que entender que tampoco es bueno solo meterlo por meter esas cosas. Tienes que aprender a tocar simple porque el simple se escucha mejor para todos.
Y sí. Porque at the end of the day, you're not there to show off.
Yeah, y yo ahorita también digo, ¿por qué es simple? Because just like he said, you're not just the show. You're not the main event there. You have other musicians with you. En la canción puede haber un guitar solo y si tú estás haciendo muchos adornos, muchos chops, muchos cymbal hits, le estás quitando la oportunidad del guitarrista de tener su oportunidad de tener su solo. O igual para el bajista. Si estás haciendo tantas cosas, pues le quitas la vista a lo que es el bajo o lo que tiene que ser el bajo. Y es igual para los demás.
Exactamente. Again, no quieres sobresaltarte del grupo, sino que quieres hacer un grupo, unified group that makes the song sound amazing.
Sí.
So, todos tienen que estar de acuerdo con sus partes.
Y sí, todos sabemos que la batería es importante en lo que es una banda. Pero también aprendiendo esto te va a hacer mejor en lo que es ya tocar con una agrupación. Porque te tienes que acoplar con los demás y tienes que saber cuándo es tu tiempo y cuándo no.
Exactamente. Entonces, ya vamos concluyendo. Enséñanos qué sería el 100%
Okay.
de la alabanza de Waymaker.
Okay.
Drums in. Bridge. Bridge. Build.
So 100% in the song Waymaker, you just showed us what it was. It's super similar to 90%.
That's when I talked about the percentages in the very beginning. That's why I said the 90s and the 100s are going to be the same, but there's just going to be slight differences en lo que es los porcentajes.
And which was because como que le metiste más toms, a little bit more cymbals, maybe a couple more kicks, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I noticed.
And just a slight bit of a rudiment or of a fill, drum fill, and not too crazy. I didn't go too crazy in lo que es 100%, which a lot of people would misinterpret because when they say 100%, this is where they say, dang, this is where my chops are going in. But that's not where your chops go in. This is where you just still...
No, we ain't talking about pork chop, guys.
No, we're talking about chops and lo que es drums.
Even though some... Okay, side note, even though some pork chops sound real good right now. They sound bomb.
Yeah, but we're not here for pork chops right now.
Anyway, let's go back to our lesson before we get distracted with food and then we become the Food Network.
Pero yeah, going back to llegando ya al 100%, como dije al principio, es similar a mi 90%. Casi nunca cuando yo toco, casi nunca llego al 100%. En lo que es una canción, ya sí depende el avivamiento. If we're playing live or we're filling something up differently, then yeah, I'll do my 100%. But usually I try to keep things at the 90, or you might even go up to 95%, just depending on how you interpret that 95% in the in between of the 90s and the 100s.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give you, so todos hemos tenido la oportunidad de tocar con diferentes músicos. Y yo he tenido la oportunidad de tocar con diferentes bateristas, not just yourself. Solo cuando te llaman y dicen, oye, necesito a cover, can you help me? So, here's the thing. Uno como grupo, you get so used to having your own drummer, playing as a band together for so many years, and then you te acoplas con otro drummer that he's going 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, bro, like, we need to bring it down, man. Like, we ain't there yet. You're taking me to the climax.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, like, I wanna go up and then calm down. But there's been times where people are just like, milagroso, pa, 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 pa. doing chops left and right, I'm like, oh.
It throws everyone off. Because in that sense, you would be like, okay, so is this where I have to go harder on my piano? Is this where I have to do like a little bit of here and there? Or the bass player, do I have to do bass slaps? I don't know. It's just when people just go
Dale ejemplo bass slap como de cómo toca Tony el bass slap.
No, I'm just playing. He doesn't play it like that. But I always make fun of Tony for doing it that way. I don't know. I just find it funny, and his reaction is hilarious. Pero yeah.
It cracks me up every single time he does that. La cosa de Jonathan es que Jonathan finds a way not to make fun of each other, but just to be like, hey, Tony, this is how you play. ¿Cómo? And then you just see Tony across the room like,
yeah, he's so
seriously, bro? Seriously, bro?
But yeah, I don't do it just like to be me, but it's just, I like, personally, when you get to know me, I like to mess around a lot. I like to have fun, and it's just a way that I mess around with my brothers. It's all just humor for us. Maybe some people might take it in the bad way, but for us, it's just fun.
I mean, you have to make practice fun.
Exactly.
Otherwise, if you don't, then you sales estresado, sales hasta con dolor de cabeza, and you're just like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Hasta a veces llega el momento that you're just like, I don't know if I really want to go practice anymore.
For sure.
Because you're so stressed out from the last practice session. You're just like, no, you just got to make it fun. There are times where we are serious. Like, majority of times, 90% of times we are serious when we practice. But that 10%, we do joke around. We do make practice fun. So before we end this conversation, this podcast, I have one more question for you. For all our drummer viewers that are out there, I'm sure they're asking themselves, hey, are you going to give us an example of how to improve dynamics on the drums?
Yeah.
So do you have an example?
Yeah, I have an example. It's super, super easy and simple that you could work on individually on each section of either your snare, your toms. You could probably even use it with your kick, but it's just basically what you want to do. En lo que es este ejercicio es medir tus niveles. ¿Quieres empezar tu dinámica calladito? ¿Quieres llegar al medio y después ya lo más fuerte, que sería la tercera? Y practicando eso te va a ayudar a tener ese muscle memory que necesitas para saber, okay, this is where I started practicing those 3 different versions. So now this is where I have to include those, especially when it comes to the percentages that you use within the worship songs.
Exactly. Otra cosa, mientras vas a enseñar, ahorita que enseñas ese ejemplo, I want to bring up también que lo que es, okay, all of this cuts into dinámicas with microphones on drums and without microphones on drums. So, hay veces que el ejercicio que les vamos a enseñar, o el que le va a enseñar Jonathan, es también para que ustedes lo puedan usar con todo lo que está la batería. Porque tienes que aprender a controlar tu volumen de tu kick, de tu snare, de tu hi-hat, de cada vez como tocas tus toms, de tus cymbals. Porque tú quieres que la batería se escuche llena con micrófonos y sin micrófonos, ¿verdad? Porque hay veces que uno tiene el pie bien pesado para tocar el bombo y se escucha más el bombo que la batería, que lo que es el snare, el hi-hat y los toms. Hay otros que tienen la mano bien pesada, que nomás es como que la batería nomás tiene un puro snare, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Y todo esto lo que es, it all comes down to dynamics. Being able to control your, how hard you hit your drums and measuring your volume levels. So tienes que aprender a controlarte tú mismo, que todo se escuche al mismo nivel. Porque si digamos que le pegas más recio al bombo, pues nomás se va a escuchar por un bombo y la gente va a decir, this drummer he just has a heavy foot. Pero si aprendemos a controlar lo que es todas tus dinámicas, pues toda la batería se va a escuchar bonita.
Yes.
¿Verdad?
Así es, sí.
Ok, entonces enséñalos tu ejercicio para que nuestros viewers puedan comenzar a practicarlo también en sus casas.
Okay. So this exercise is super simple. It seemed and sounded super simple, but it honestly works a lot within your dynamics. Because if you guys notice it, I started off at a smaller dynamic, built my way up to my loudest, and you can also see where my stick levels were at according to whatever level I was playing. So if I was playing soft, you notice that my stick levels were closer to my snare or to my toms. Yeah, when I was going louder, then that's when it sounded. My sticks were going further away from my tom or snare.
Which is super interesting because, again, we're going to go back to people who have not really taken the time to maybe learn music theory and really learn like dynamics and really learn about drum fundamentals in general. They would see this exercise as like, seriously, man? Like, seriously, that's going to help me?
Yeah, but
Like just going...
And in reality, it just works a lot because you're building that muscle memory. Lo que tienen que entender es que una persona que no está acostumbrada a lo que es las dinámicas, lo va a ver como que no está funcionando, pero ya si lo sigues practicando, ya cuando empiezas a tocar, tú mismo vas a notar la diferencia en cómo estás tocando porque has practicado esos tipos de dinámicas. Y la forma que yo lo toqué fue quebrado, right, in bits and pieces. Pero si tú lo quieres practicar de un solo, you can. Pero tienes que entender que ya después de la parte recia, cuando mueves a tu first tom, tienes que regresar al tiempo calladito. And it's just basically just like a simple, easy fill. You just repeat it over and over again until you start building that muscle memory that you need.
Super interesting, it really is. Because in reality, I saw that and I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was... And it's true. Música is so repetitive that you have to rewire your brain and you have to build that muscle memory because if you don't, te vas a quedar muy estancado and you're not gonna learn anything else. So, and again, cuando tú te dedicas a practicar lo que son tus dinámicas, tu fundamento de drums y tus ejercicios exactos como tienen que ser, te abre muchísimas puertas. No nomás vas a tocar en un grupo, sino que también te abre muchas puertas para diferentes lugares. Digamos que en la escuela a lo mejor necesitan un drummer. En la escuela tienes que aprender a tocar jazz y el jazz es más como smooth, más light. No vas a ir a tocar rock and roll, no vas a ir a tocar R&B, no vas a ir a tocar un ritmo reggaetón así de súper recio, sino que tienes que aprender a controlarte y te hace mucho más profesional.
Sí. If you wanna stand out compared to other drummers, learning your dynamics and figuring out how you could use that to your advantage is gonna make you stand out way different than any other person there is.
Muchos músicos tienen que you need to understand that standing out isn't always about how many fills I could do or how many chops I could do. It really isn't like that because there are other people who are like, if you don't do all those things, they don't consider you good.
Yeah.
Because a le quieren ver tantos chops. A ley quieren ver que toques súper recio, que se te quiebre el palo ahí en medio del servicio. Y en realidad no es eso el concepto de la batería o lo que es la música cristiana.
I could probably use this guy as an example. Take the drummer from the Beatles. The drummer from the Beatles, he stood out compared to other drummers that were going around his time because if you notice that all of the songs that he's doing is just basically just the beat that he's keeping and then just figuring out how he's using that to the song. Compared to others who might have been playing the same thing, but doing multiple other stuff like fills and whatever. But the drummer de los Beatles kept everything so simple that made him stand out even better, especially when the recordings came up.
Because he stayed in the pocket.
Yeah. Keeping pocket is important.
Keeping pocket is super important. Hey, para los que no saben lo que es keeping pocket, explain a little bit of what keeping the pocket is.
Basically, what that is just maintaining just your rhythm. A rhythm and tempo for everyone else. Yes, you could still throw in a couple of things here and there, like a fill, like a crash cymbal, whatever. But going back into your pocket of just maintaining that certain tempo at that tempo with the same rhythm, that's what a pocket is.
All right. Okay, so para terminar, what we're going to do is que we're going to show our viewers del bridge hasta el coro de la alabanza de Waymaker, pero trata de incorporar las percentages
Okay.
just to see what it sounds like. But let me fix the track here real quick. That way we could extend a little bit more. That way you have the bridge in the chorus, okay?
Okay. So while he's doing that, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you are following our Instagram, our Facebook as well, just to kind of keep up with us, what we're doing. Never miss a notification bell. As long as you click on the bell on YouTube, you'll always be notified as to when we're going to be uploading or when we have uploaded a video. Así que no se te olvide darle like y suscribirte y darle share, compártelo para otras personas para que vean. If you're the director of your church, music director at your church, if you want to start teaching your drummer this type of things, send them this video so they can start learning. It's probably not going to be a super professional type of thing, but it's still something that they can always learn and just start capturing those and start memorizing those type of things so they can start helping you and your church a lot better when it comes to worship.
Okay, so I got it done. So show us what from the bridge of Waymaker all the way to the chorus to the ending, what it would sound like. Are you ready? Pues. Alrighty, guys. Jonathan, gracias por habernos acompañado y explicado un poquito sobre lo que es dinámicas en la batería, porque es súper importante aprender y saber la diferencia.
Sí.
Espero and I hope and I pray that you guys learned a little bit of something new, especially with dynamics and on drummings. Pero if you guys like the video, go ahead and just share it, make sure your friends are seeing this. If you're a drummer, I hope that you learned something new today. And I hope that this is only the beginning of your journey. And try to practice this, even though you might think that exercise that was given as an example was simple, but give it a try. Give it 30 days, right?
Yeah. It takes about 30 days for you to start building up that type of new habit that you need.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that siempre nos dice it takes 21 days for you to break a bad habit. If you are consistent, give it 21 days and then see what happens. And then for sure, let us know, comment, and tell us how your progress is going. And again, Jonathan, gracias por acompañarnos y gracias por darnos estos tips que yo sé que van a ser de grande bendición para mucha gente que está viendo el video.
sí, gracias a todos ustedes por siempre sintonizarse a nuestros videos. Sé que van a ver muchos diferentes ejercicios y muchos diferentes videos de cómo se utiliza el bajo en una canción, la guitarra, el piano. This is just the beginning. Este es solo el comienzo de nuestro canal, así que esperamos crecer más con ustedes y como dijo mi hermano, comenten en nuestros videos. Tal vez se nos hace un poquito difícil responder a los comentarios because we have other things going on in our lives también outside of our group. Pero yeah, we try to get back to those people who comment. And if you want to learn like a specific song, si quieres aprender una canción específica en lo que es la música de worship, comenta la canción. We'll take a look at it. If we could cover it, we'll cover it. Just to kind of start helping you guys también learn and build up the music practices that you guys need to be better.
Exacto. So, thank you guys for watching y acompañándonos. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. So, I can't wait, but we'll see you guys to episode number 4.
Yeah, crazy. Number 4. But yeah,
episode number 4 already.
See you there.
Eres la luz de mi corazón. Caminaré confiado sin temor.